Alrighty, guys. How's everybody doing tonight? Getting some things set up here before we get going. If you guys can hear me okay, um, please let me know how it sounds. Give me a thumbs up, that kind of stuff. Just confirm for me that you can hear me clearly and it doesn't sound weird at all. Perfect. Looks like I got the vote of confidence from Root Beer and Jimmy. Jimmy 1521. Perfect. So is everybody in quarantine? Everybody stuck at home, not working? We are open as of right now. Nothing is changing. We are automotive repair, so we are considered an essential business. So we're going to be rocking and rolling through these restrictions unless something changes. We have any issues, stuff like that. But some uneasy times right now for everyone. So thanks for joining us on YouTube. Thanks for always supporting PBH. We said it from the beginning when we were just working on cars. We couldn't do this without our customers, and our customers are awesome. They do some pretty cool stuff, and we're just happy to be part of it. Um, Coronavirus COVID-19 has definitely thrown a monkey wrench into some things, and it is slowing down some of the supply channels for us. Nothing major as of yet, but we continue to work through these times, and as the challenges arise, we're kind of overcoming them. So we're hoping that it doesn't really throw too many things off too soon when we get back to the new normal that's going to be set after this. That everybody's still going to be Coyote swapping and doing work to their cars and using products from PBH to do so, or at least reaching out to us for tech. If you are quarantined and you need to get some work done on your car, now is the perfect time. And if you need any parts, we are still open, so we can supply you that stuff and not hold you up at all moving forward. So thanks for coming on and joining us. If you guys have any questions, for any reason we don't cover anything today or I miss your question, you can email us info@pbhperformance.com. That email comes directly to me, and I can answer any of the tech questions you may have. If you need me to expand on anything that we do talk about, just let us know. Email us real quick. That's the best route to get some tech or any information about an order you might have placed. If you are sharing the video, make sure you tag us so you can see our hashtag in the back there, PBH equipped, and just let everybody know that we're doing this. We're planning on doing it every Wednesday night, 7 o'clock Eastern, and then that ends up being 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's how YouTube sets it up, which I wasn't even thinking about when I first posted it. Make sure you go to our website, subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit that notification button so you don't miss any of the stuff, including the live broadcast. There's some good tech that we put in some of our videos, some really cool stuff as far as cars performing, and then now we're doing the live streams as well. So there's definitely a lot of engagement there. You can definitely see and get a lot of information from us, and we're going to be covering a little bit of that now as far as our product announcements now. The hot button topic is our 05 to 09 Coyote Swap plug and play harness. We let the cat out of the bag a little bit too early on that one, and we're getting hounded now because of our good friend Alex. He talked about it on his channel, and a lot of people watch that, and we know you guys want it. There's a lot of guys we have on email lists, guys that are calling us and emailing us every week, keeping in touch every month, checking to see what's available. We ran into some hiccups in the development of that harness. It's not just going to be a harness. Now I'm going to go a little bit further into that next, but we'll cover some of the other new stuff that we have out that's available now instead of going over the harness that I don't have available right now to send you. And thank you guys for all the thumbs up. Thank you for all the support. Seeing all the chats coming across now. Our speed drive, which you kind of see our naturally aspirated version there with our Speed Series pulleys on it behind me. We've always offered that naturally aspirated to put the power steering pump on the driver's side from the 96 to 04 Mustang. And you can use the 96 to 04 Mustang AC compressor, mounts the alternator up on the driver's side, or excuse me, on the passenger side, flipped around. We came up with upfit kits for that back in the day for the Roush and the VMP 2.3s, which eventually worked on the 2.6, which is their Gen 3 VMP supercharger, and it's worked swimmingly. And then we came out with the Gen 3 front feed Whipple version that we sold a bunch of those, and we have those in stock as well. So if you have a 2.9 front feed Whipple, we have you set up with power steering for any of your Coyote Swap needs. Recently, what we've released is the same kit, upfit and as a complete setup for the Edelbrock 2650. Now, the Edelbrock 2650 is a TVS-based supercharger. It is front feed. They have upgraded throttle bodies for it. If you've seen it in action, and most likely it's been on Alex's Fairmont that we did the Coyote Swap on with him, and it performs great. I mean, I think it's making north of 900 horsepower now. Once he gets a few things sorted, it should be one of the fastest TVS cars on record until somebody decides to put one in on a lighter car or something more aggressive. As far as speed drives go, Christopher, they do not work on the GT500. GT500s don't really need a power steering solution because they had power steering on them from 07 to 2012, I believe. You may have to correct me on that. 11 or 12, they had power steering. 13, 14, I believe they finally put the electric steering on them, so you don't need them for those. But anyway, back to the 2650. Not only are we going to have a speed drive available for them, we will have an upfit kit, which means the speed drive, by the way, I see some at root beer, that is our power steering solution for the Coyote engines, the 5-liter Coyote engines. Edelbrock 2650, we're also offering the supercharger kits themselves, those tuner kits, heat exchanger kits we have as well, upgraded throttle bodies, cold air intakes for them, and then the speed drives themselves are all available on our website, pbhperformance.com. If you already have a naturally aspirated speed drive, you don't need a whole complete kit. You can opt to get the upfit, which is just the pieces you need to change your existing speed drive over to what the Edelbrock version has. So you don't have to buy a whole kit. You can get the trimmed down kit. Some of you may only need these parts right here and a belt because it's going to reuse the same tensioners, it's going to reuse the same AC compressor, power steering pump, alternator, everything that you already have on your car. And depending on the production date of the kit that you already existingly have on your car, you may or may not need an alternator bracket. So there's two variations of it. You'll see there's a production date split 220 of 20 to get you situated there. Additionally, we have some other new products. A lot of guys have ordered our new hot water tubes, the heater tubes, to eliminate the degas bottle from their Coyote Swap. The orders have been a lot more than we expected. I didn't realize that this was going to be such a hot piece. So we've run a little short on inventory, but we're getting more and more made and sent in. That product itself, if you haven't seen the video, it's on our YouTube channel. You can look at it in our product videos. It's probably the latest one there. And it's basically how to remove the degas bottle from the cooling system on a Coyote. Now, this product is mainly going to be for the guys that have an old school radiator setup with a coolant recovery tank or catch can. If you have a degas bottle currently on your car, so let's say 96 to all the way to 2010 as an example for Coyote Swaps, those systems do require degas bottles, not really a product for you. But if you have anything older than that, if you got an F100, if you got a Fox body, you can reuse your radiator, you can reuse the cooling fan you already had on there if it's electric, and you can reuse the coolant recovery tank. The trick is, once you do that, you're going to have a weird hot water tube on the driver's side that has a forward leg on it, and you either cap that off or end up cutting it up and welding it shut, and the results can be a little mixed. At the end of the day, they can look unwanted and kind of ugly in a sense. So these hot water tubes help you clean up the whole cooling system. They have the restrictor for the cooling system built into them. On the passenger side too, it is smaller than the driver's side, so you don't have to put a restrictor in line, so you don't have to cut up your heater hose and put a couple clamps on or anything like that. It makes it really easy to clean up the system, and we also have a bleeder screw kit available to get rid of the port that comes out of the water neck in the valley of the engine itself. That also is not going to be needed. So make sure you check out that video. Check out all of our videos. If you have any questions on any of that product, post it up. I monitor all that stuff and try to answer those questions as much as possible and get you as much much information as possible. Alex Flores has joined us. As you can tell, A lot of eggplants all over there, the big purple ones, signifying that he's here. Thank you, Alex, for always supporting PBH. Thanks for always mentioning us in your videos and just being a good friend to the shop. And Alex has a question. What do people need when using a Gen 2 F-150 motor in their Coyote Swap, and which harnesses should they avoid so they don't have to do it twice? Love you. Well, I love you too. And most likely he's asking this question because he's got a bunch of customers requesting tuning and they don't have the right stuff on their car. Well, if you have a Gen 2 F-150 motor and you're doing a Coyote Swap, most likely you're going to be using the Ford Race Control Pack. Ford Race Control Pack is set up for a Mustang. It's going to have a Mustang PCM in it. It's going to have Mustang body harness in it. It's going to have Mustang sensors and a mass airflow meter. F-150s in Gen 2 do not have a mass airflow meter. They are a MAP. Additionally, they have a different firing order, and a lot of those differences are in the harness itself. So what we have here available from PBH is an engine harness, which in Gen 2, just to clarify, engine and transmission harness are one harness. There's only two connectors on the PCM. So your Gen 2 engine harness includes a transmission provision. So you have basically two different harnesses to pick from, 6R80 or not 6R80. So if you're going to do that swap and you're using a control pack, we do have a harness available for you. You can't use the F-150 harness with a Mustang PCM. You also don't have a mass airflow meter. So this harness that we offer is a modified harness, a factory harness that adds the mass airflow meter. It changes what needs to be changed so it'll run properly, but it's specifically designed to work with the F-150 camshafts and VCT. If you switch your camshafts to Mustang, switch everything over to Mustang and time it like a Mustang, and then get a Mustang engine and transmission harness. If you're going to keep it F-150, our harness is your option to work with the control pack. So that should clarify what you need if you're using Gen 2 F-150 with Ford Racing Gen 2 6R80 or not 6R80 control pack. If you guys have any other questions about that, just shoot us an email or post up here today. Thank you, Alex, for bringing that up. That's actually a pretty good topic there. So does the 97 Cobra have a degas system? Jason, yes, it does. There is a coolant expansion tank. I believe, yeah, there is a coolant expansion tank at the top. That's why your pressurized cap is on that tank and it's not at the radiator. Now, there is a cap on the radiator, but that's not the pressurized cap that can open up if it goes over 16 psi. So when you're working with that 97 Cobra, you can reuse those components or put the Coyote degas bottle on there and then use the factory hoses. Now, you could use the factory heater hoses as well, because as long as they reach the firewall, you're good to go, and you can use those factory connections. If you're going to bypass the heater, then you're probably going to want to modify your existing hoses so that they just connect tower to tower. And we're working on coming up with a hose that you can just bolt on there, clamp on there. That'll make that a little bit easier to do instead of trying to cut it up and mess something up or break a connector or something like that. We got another question here. Mr. Nitro, Gen 2 F-150 engine worth it over a Gen 1 F-150? Yeah, it's worth it. I mean, they're going to be newer, so you're probably going to find more low mileage versions of them in the junkyards, unless you have some Survivor F-150s out there that have less than 36,000 miles on them from 11 to 14. I think that's going to be a big reason to go Gen 2. Gen 2 does have some upgrades. I've never really been able to verify exactly what they are, if they can really hold what a Mustang engine can do, so keep that in mind. I would say they're probably good to 550, horsepower before you really start thinking about trying to, build up the internals. You could probably lean on a little bit harder and ask your tuner how comfortable they are leaning on them, if performance is what you're looking for or what's gearing that question in particular. But you can do all the upgrades to them, just like a Mustang. You can change intake manifolds; they're interchangeable. You can put different camshafts in them. Oil pump gears are available for them. The headers work. All those things are available to do. So the one thing to keep in mind with Gen 2, with F-150 engines in general, with our speed drive systems, is that none of our speed drives work on the F-150 timing cover, mainly because they need an idler pulley that's on the driver's side of the timing cover that the F-150s typically don't have. So if you are planning on doing a swap and it's going to include some of our products, including our power steering products, keep that in mind because you may have to switch the timing cover out. We do offer the timing cover pre-machined for our speed drives, so you could opt to go that route, but it does add to the budget. So as you're working out exactly what you're going to be doing here, keep that in mind. Yeah, that was a good question. Let's see what else we got. Alex wanted to be the first to pay. He always pays. He pays heavily. The ribbing, the work, we don't give him any discounts. I mean, we lay into this guy as much as possible. Let's see here. Would a 5.4 motor out of a Navigator with a 6R80 and a Coyote ECU work together in something like a 12th gen F-150, kind of like a 6R80? Let's see here. 5.4 motor with a 6R80. I have that in my Expedition. It's a 3-valve 5.4 with a 6R80. Now, those 6R80s are mechatronic. They have their own controllers built into them. And they're not compatible with the Mustang PCMs for that reason. If you look at your Navigator or an Expedition, the PCM is mounted on the firewall, and there's actually 3 connectors on the PCM, and one of them's blocked off. And I believe that is for the transmission harness because everything's being handled internally in the transmission. So wiring's different, most likely pinout's going to be different, and controlling and tuning it is probably going to be a problem. So keep that in mind. If you're trying to do something like that, you're going to probably be on an island by yourself trying to figure out how to get that to work. I don't see too many tuners really jumping on that one saying, hey, I want to tackle that bad boy and let's get it done. So GT500, now if you're going to use a 5.4 engine, keep this in mind, 5.4, 4.6, 4-valve, 2-valve, a lot of the sensors are the same. And luckily, because 11 to 14 GT500 existed, using the same PCM that was used in the 11 to 14 Gen 1 Coyotes, you could mix all those components. So if you had an older 4-valve, 3-valve, 2-valve modular Ford, you could potentially, just like we've done in the Terminators, the 6R80s behind them, put a Coyote PCM running that engine with custom tuning, preferably from Lund, with our control pack and a GT500 engine harness. If you're using a manual, you're going to use a GT500 transmission harness. Now, the GT500 engine harness needs to be from an 11 to 14, so you got to transfer that stuff if it's an older engine. But that would work, and that's kind of the mix of things you have to do to try to put a 6R80 behind something older. Now, the GT500s are easier because the body harness is the same from 07 all the way through to 14, essentially, so we don't have to pluck that out of the car. But if you're doing a swap, you're going to replace that body harness with our Gen 1 6R80 harness, which also is available to work with manuals, put a GT500 engine harness in it, and then the corresponding transmission harness for a Gen 1 Coyote, and then it's tuning and wiring and butting things together. So Alex has another paid question, one of our favorite topics of conversation. Do you swipe back to front or front to back? I can tell you I've done both. And for the most part, it's usually back to front because I'm a little bit different. I'll leave it at that. Mr. Nitro, does Alex measure his dong from his beehole? Not really sure. I haven't been there for that. I've seen a lot of things that he's done. He's divulged a lot of information to us, even some of his dating tips. And I'm not sure where he's measuring it from, but I would have to guess it is from the beehole. Front to back always, yes. Front to back, which now bidets are the big thing. This COVID-19 thing is driving everybody nuts. Toilet paper sold out everywhere in the world, so bidets, and I saw somebody has a RotoZip now with a wire wheel that you can use in the toilet as well. So let's try to get back on track. Talk a little bit more about Coyote Swap stuff and some new products we have. As much as I love all that stuff there, this is a PG-13 NC-17 show. All right, so new products, 3-valve harness, which everyone's dying to know about. In the room next to me, there is a 3-valve harness being made. We are planning on making a few of them for select customers that have agreed to be test mules. '07 to '09 only because we have some issues with connectors for '05 to '06. The big hiccup here is that for this harness to truly be plug and play, for your gauges to work, for the AC to work, for cruise control to work, your backup lights, everything to work seamlessly, we need some sort of a CAN bus box. And that box is being developed, but due to the virus and some of the holdups in China, we haven't been able to get certain circuit boards printed and done. So we're kind of in a holding pattern on that. But as soon as that's available, we'll be able to go into full production with it. Now, we're probably going to go into production beforehand, before that box is available, just to get the head start on things, and be able to get some more harnesses out there and situated into cars. But there may be some things left off the table that you're going to want until those boxes become available. Maybe it's something you might be able to buy separately from us, or we'll ship to you when it's available, and it's a simple bolt in or have separate set of instructions. We don't really know yet. We are going to be trying some of those harnesses, the handmade ones, on a few cars. We're going to reach out to those guys and let them know when they're available. These things take a long time to build. I mean, even when we did the Gen 1 harnesses, it took about 20, 25 hours for a guy who had instructions and everything he needed sitting there in front of him to make a harness, which is why we manufactured them. And we took a big leap doing that because when we order them, we got to order like 200 of them, and it adds up. But we will be manufacturing those harnesses. We have not given up on it. We're not stringing you guys along indefinitely. I know there's some guys that have some projects out there that are dying for this harness. If you are an '07 to '09 and you can skip on a few of the things that are going to be eventually available, like reverse lights and so forth, call us, email us. I'll get you in contact with the members of our team, which are Christian and Jake, to try to get you situated and try to get you a harness out as soon as we can, really. I mean, they're taking time to do. I think they've been working on this harness on and off this week, and it's just about done. So we're looking forward to releasing that as well. Let's see here. So much for keeping it professional. You're right. Well, I mean, we haven't totally cursed. We haven't thrown it out the window. Is the speed drive available for supercharged applications? Yes, I actually covered that earlier in the video, but Alex asked me again without paying this time, which is kind of weird. Speed drives are available as power steering solutions for naturally aspirated Coyotes Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3. They're also available for Roush 2.3 superchargers, the rear feed ones currently. VMP Gen 2, Gen 3, Gen 1, 2.3, 2.6 all work. We're working on the Odin. We're going to have to get with them on getting a blower to situate that. Also available for the 2.9 Whipple Gen 3 supercharger front feed. Now available for the Edelbrock 2650 front feed in 6 and 8 rib. And then soon to be released, the Gen 5 Whipple in both 6 and 8 rib. Now when I say Whipple in 8 rib, you're probably asking yourself, Whipple doesn't offer an 8 rib. Well, they offer a 10 rib. The issue is that their belt on the superchargers on the outer sheath, which is the closest to the radiator, that's where our power steering pump sits. And we can't find any 10 rib power steering pump pulleys. We could make them, but it would drive the cost of the kit up quite a bit. So what we did is made an 8 rib version of it, so you can use Grip Tech pulleys on there and still use the upgraded pulley that we offer for the water pump and the upgraded pulley for the power steering pump as well. That way everything's kind of seamless, and they'll both be available, Edelbrock and the Whipple Gen 5 in 6 and 8 rib, and there's a chance we'll have an 8 rib available for the Gen 3s as well. We've been working on that. I know Caleb from the Foxcast, I'm not sure if he's on here or not, but they have a really good customer, Dover, and him named Lee Ray, excuse me. Lee has built one Whipple supercharged Coyote Swap. I think it's convertible. It was at Foxtoberfest, which we go to every year, and that car is beautiful. He's building another car. He actually already is Coyote Swap. He's just supercharging it now. It's a little bit racier. He was holding out for a Gen 5. Things got delayed, so he got a Gen 3 from us again. And I think on that one, we're probably going to be working with him to get a an 8 rib version on it. It's going to start off as a 6 rib and then go 8. Let's see here. Have you seen any issues with rebuilding 10 or 80 frictions and steels not being true or fitting properly? Not to date. We built quite a few of them, sent out a bunch of kits. with the Ray Best's GPZ frictions that are available on our website. And haven't had that reported to us. Not that I'm aware of, unless somebody else got the tech call on it or email. Nothing consistent, nothing that's causing an issue where we'd have to pull it off the market, or not offer them, or generate something to do it. So if you have run into an issue, send us an email, let us know what's going on, because right now there's only 2 sets of frictions and steels, I believe, available. Actually, no, just the GPZ, which is what McLeod offers, which a lot of the companies are using now. So love to know if there is an issue. There might be something we can help you out with there if you send us some pictures. But you know, the more we know about it, the more we can make adjustments for. Maybe we can make people aware of it. Yeah, Douglas. Yeah, great questions from Alex. He really knocked it out of the park. You know, really helping me out there. Let's see what else we got here. Let's see. Gotta save the 05 to 09 cars. Yeah, you gotta save them because for a couple of reasons. They're getting old. They're, in my opinion, and a lot of our opinion here, the new Fox body. You can get a roller for 4 or 5 grand. It probably still runs. You know, the 3-valve is known to have its issues. Little lackadaisical on performance, and the Coyote bolts right into it, similar to a Fox body, except there's better suspension behind it. You got a 3650 transmission that you can probably reuse. If you got a 5R55, just put a 6R80 in it. Get rid of that transmission. You don't want that thing in there, especially with any kind of power whatsoever. So, and the 6R80 bolts right in. We're working on that harness. We're going to work on a few other products to really help you out with that. Our speed drive for a power steering solution. If you're doing an 05 to 09 car, that's all you need to retain your AC and retain your power steering. And when we say retain, it's going to keep them in the stock location. So your power steering pump is literally going to unbolt from the 3-valve. AC is going to unbolt. You don't have to open up the lines, take everything off. You put our brackets onto the engine and bolt them back on. You're going to have to modify some of the power steering hoses. I believe where the reservoir mounts is not going to be available until we make a bracket for it potentially. But we do have a bracket from Midway Mustang that might work for you there. If not, you'll have to relocate it a little bit, make some hoses, but that's it. I mean, you don't have to even open the AC system. Your heater hoses should work from your donor vehicle. If you don't have them, you know, pick some stock ones up, and cooling fan will work with our, I mean, it's going to be a real, I think, and we've been talking to him a little bit here, and I might be letting the cat out of the bag early, but the gentleman, Matt Sopa, he's planning on doing a 05 to 09 3-valve to Coyote Swap, and I think once we get our harnesses done and we get him our speed drive, from talking to Matt, I think he's going to do that swap in 48 hours. I think it's going to be something where he starts, you know, Friday night pulling some stuff apart, and by Sunday afternoon he's going to be doing burnouts in front of his house. Probably with open exhausts, but either way, it's swapped and it's running, and it's going to work great. So, Brian Mockeridge, any options to change 07 GP500 to auto? Absolutely. You can do a 6R80 swap on an 07. You're going to have to change some things over to 11 to 14, like the engine harness. You're going to want an 11 to 14 GP500 engine harness. I think all the sensors are the same. You're going to reuse your body harness. You're going to then get a transmission harness from an 11 to 14 Coyote GT. Get an 11 to 14 Coyote 6R80 PCM. And once you put all that together with a little bit of custom wiring, some CAN bus trickery, you're going to have a 6R80 power or 6R80 backed 07 GT500. Now, if you want more information on that, email us. I'll get you in contact with some of our guys who have done plenty of these with customers remotely, and they can get you a parts list that we can offer you with all brand new parts, and tell you what to get as far as a donor, so that it'll go together swimmingly. And once you have that together, there's nothing wrong with, you know, a 600 or 700 horsepower 07 GP500 with a 6R80 behind it. That thing's going to rip. It's going to be more consistent. When we did the auto swaps on the 13-14 cars, bone stock with paper air filters and a tune, they were dropping a whole second in ET at the track on drag radials. So it's pretty significant, and the car just gets easier to drive, especially if you're driving it in a performance situation. You're going to the track, going to the strip, that kind of stuff. I mean, I'll hand it to you. If you can do it with a stick, and 60 foot a GT500, God bless you. But a 6R80 definitely makes it a lot easier, more consistent, so you can be, you can perform better. So Brian, reach out to us. We'll get you a cost on that parts list and everything that it needs, and see if we can help you out and get that done. Douglas, you missed his question. Well, what did I miss? Okay, here we go. What does a bone stock 1314 GT500? Well, it runs in the tens. I mean, I think it's like a low 11-second ride. I don't remember the exact ET, but we had a guy named Rene Vargas that brought us a 13 GT500, and basically got us a 6R80 behind it, and he was the perfect test mule. I mean, we left that car bone stock. I think we gapped the plugs, maybe changed them. Lund Racing tuned it. I think it went out there race gas or E85 with a tune. Picked up like 60 horsepower like it usually did for a 1314 GT500. He had some drag radials on it, and that thing was, I want to say it was like a low 11 1090 car. I'll have to dig it up and see if I still have it in the emails and some of the posts that we've done, but it was quick. It was lethal. Nobody expected it either, because the GT500s, they would usually launch, spin the tires, the guy will grab second, not lift, hit both walls, that kind of stuff. Money being no object. This is from Alex. Again, Alex donating to the cause. I owe you lunch next week if we can get it. Money being no object. Gen 1, 2, or 3 motor swap in your build. Money being no object. I would probably lean towards a Gen 3, because it's the latest stuff, has a higher compression ratio, a lot of the cutting edge technology and performance products that are coming out are going to be available for it. The issue is, right now, supply is a problem with the control packs, and tuning still is being developed. I mean, Gen 1 and Gen 2 tuning, I hear about updates all the time on that stuff too. Different combinations and so forth. So they're never really done developing tuning, but the Gen 3 stuff is still not the known quantity. And F-150 Gen 3, I'll put this out as a PSA right now. There is no control pack. There is no wiring harness from us to make that work. We're seeing quite a difference between Gen 2 and Gen 3 F-150. So much so that I don't think you're going to get a control pack for an F-150 Gen 3. I think you're going to have to change hard components, cams, VCT, that kind of stuff, to get those to work. And they're expensive as it is. I'm not sure about used. I mean, if you go get a whole powertrain, you might get a great deal on it. It might be worth it to then do the cam swap. But camshafts, depending where you're buying them, the time to do it, if you have to pay somebody to do it, all the components you need to do it. I mean, you're probably going to spend $1,000 on the low end if you're doing it yourself, just buying all this stuff. And that might price you out. Compare that to a Mustang engine. So make sure you're planning properly as far as that. But Gen 1, 2, or 3. I would lean towards a Gen 3 if everything was available. The known quantity right now is Gen 2. We have brand new Gen 2 engines in stock. They are not available from Ford Racing anymore, but Power by the Hour has complete Gen 2 crate motors in stock, ready to ship. We can set them up for 6R80s. We can set up for manual transmission, any other transmission for you. We can put our speed drive on it. We can put superchargers on them. The works. The guys from Max Slider Broncos, Classic Bronc, I mean, you name it, have been buying these up and putting them in because the Gen 2 is their known quantity, and they want to keep using it. The Gen 3s are a little bit of an unknown still. They're still getting worked out as far as what is what. And on top of that, there is no 6R80 option with a Gen 3. You're going to have to run a 10R80 if you want a decent automatic behind there, or you're going to have to go to a 4R70W or Power Glider Turbo 400 or something like that. So 10R80s, love them to death, but clunky, and they have some problems from the factory. Stuff that the 6R80s don't really have ailing them, so keep that in mind. So I'll take a Gen 2 if I'm doing a swap right now. If I'm planning on a swap in the next year or so, most likely that Gen 3 looks a little bit more appealing to me. But Gen 2, engines are still available from PBH. Products are available. We got just about everything squared away and figured out for them, so it's hard to kind of vote against a Gen 2. So, make your decision based on what you're doing, what your budget's going to tell you, because that's king. Let's see here. Brian, it's a control pack. The engine is in a 67 F100. Did I miss a question from you, Brian, here? Any options to 07? Okay. So Brian did ask, any options to change the 07 GT500 to an auto? It's a control pack. The engine's in a 67 F100. So if you have a control pack, most likely you have the one from Ford Racing. The Ford Racing control pack is set up for a manual. Unfortunately, in that case, you're going to have to change the body harness. You're going to have to change the body harness to our Gen 1 Coyote body harness that works on 6R80 and manual transmission. That way it's compatible with the Coyote PCM. It also needs the 11 to 14 GT500 engine harness. And then you're going to need an 11 to 14 6R80 transmission harness. Now in this case, since it's a swap, you don't have to use an OEM one. You can opt to use our 6R80 transmission harness. That's already trimmed down, already has the O2 extensions built into the wiring. It's got a lot of stuff you don't need eliminated, and it also has a output shaft speed sensor wire coming out of the connector. So if you're going to use an aftermarket gauge cluster, which most likely everybody is, you'll have a converter box, or you need that OSS signal, we provide it along with power and ground down at the harness. So if you have to install that converter box, you don't have to worry about running power from your fuse block all the way down to the transmission or mounting it somewhere. You can mount that little box down on the transmission or around it, and you're going to have power, ground, and the signal to work with coming right out of the harness, already set up for you, manufactured that way, so you don't have to worry about ripping it out of your factory harness or trimming out or cutting off some O2 connectors or something like that. Let's see here. Power by the Hour, have you guys done any illuminator swaps? From Root Beer. Illuminator swaps in like a stock Mustang? Just clarify for me there, because that we've done Coyote swaps with illuminator engines, absolutely. Same rules apply as a regular Coyote, but give me some more information there. CP Stang 24, so you guys know that is Christian Papa, and he says he's bought your products before. My box when I opened it smelled like farts. That's something that is very personal, Christian. I really appreciate it if you keep that off the channel. But I'm sorry that happened. That's most likely Pezzo's fault. Sausage patties or sausage links? I do patties. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong. Is there any reason why links are better than patties? I think you get more out of a patty than you do a link. But you guys tell me. Let's see here. Any other questions? I had a damaged wire. I'm passionate at 15. I'm not sure about that one there. Alrighty. So as far as new products, 3-valve harness is in the pipeline. It's coming. Please be patient. I know it's taking a little while to get to this point, but we are making some to test them, and we are going to go to manufacturing with them. Our existing body harness for the Gen 1 6R80s and manual transmissions, those are incoming as well. We had a little bit of hiccup due to the virus, and we got past that. So they're going to be shipping in the next week or two to us from manufacturing. They'll be available very, very soon. Before we get too far, please subscribe to our channel. Hit that notification button as well so you don't miss anything upcoming from us. We would love to see our channel grow, allow us to do more things, get some more videos out to you. It already is growing. We want to thank everybody for the support as far as that goes in general as well. Our website is pbhperformance.com if you don't know that already. Make sure you go on there. Sign up for our newsletter. We do send some information out on there that isn't on our social media feeds and so forth. And if you have any questions about anything in the video doesn't get answered, email me, info@pbhperformance.com, and we'll get you the answers you need. Some chatting going on here. Let's see. Might be looking at using a 3650 in a swap. Should I source one out of an S197? You could, but it depends on what you're swapping it into. if you're going to go into a Fox body, any transmission that's going to be from '05 and newer, they're going to have a remote shifter. So your 6060s, your 3650s, MT82s all have remote shifters, and that causes a little bit of an issue as far as packaging on some vehicles. We've had a few F100s come through here with 6060s from GT500s and MT82s, and while they're driving, the shifter's supposed to be here, and it's all the way back here because they can't. There's no shifter to move it forward. There's no direct connection to the transmission. So keep that in mind if you're sourcing those transmissions. The ones from the earlier cars, '01 to '04, those will be fine if you're in a Fox body. If you're doing a 3650 from an '05 and up, you're going to have a remote shifter. You're going to have to probably modify that shifter, modify the floorboard to make it work, and there's no guarantee it's going to be in the right spot or a comfortable spot for you. Let's see here. You guys are having your own conversation in the in the chat there. You're leaving me out of it. All right, so the speed drives, we already covered that. Hot water tubes we covered. Alex has asked me about how I wipe. Virus, is anybody totally screwed because of this virus? We have been busy. People keep working on their cars. A great time to go ahead and work on your Coyote Swap if you have the time and the know-how and the means. If you have any questions and need any products, we're here still. We're shipping. So don't delay anything because of the virus. Don't expect us not to be here. Even if we do close, you can then call us. We'll still be answering the phones and answering our emails and so forth. Let's see if we can find some other questions here. Have any speed drive setups been released for a Paxton Vortec and a Fox? No. Paxton Vortec superchargers, unfortunately, where they put the blower is exactly where we put the alternator, which is, if I can point at it, right there. So, unfortunately, they're going to occupy the same real estate when we're trying to add a power steering pump to it. Our naturally aspirated bracket kit will work with a Pro Charger. Now, we don't have a kit for it, but what you have to do is Pro Charger goes to one of the bolts on the factory alternator. That bolt we remove, it's actually a stud, I believe, we remove completely from the speed drive, from the timing cover, because that's where we put our power steering pump bracket. Now, if you put that bolt back in, it'll work with our power steering pump bracket. But the spacer that they supply you to go from their supercharger bracket to the alternator, that stud, is going to end up being too long because now there's a bracket underneath the shoulder of that bolt. So you have to machine that difference off of it, and it'll work with a Pro Charger. You may have to clearance a couple other things, but nothing major. So a Pro Charger will work with our naturally aspirated speed drive without a doubt. All right, Brian, it's a control. Oh, we got another big question. Let me scroll down here. Does the 6R80 work in the SN95 cars? Fitment-wise, it will work. SN95 cars are Fox bodies, so tunnel clearance is okay. You may have to massage it, which you're going to have to massage tunnels on Fox body cars from 79 to 04, just about anything you do down there. Cross members available on our website from Stifler's. They make a great cross member. They offer them for all the different transmission options and the 6R80 as well. They also have a mount that we sell that bolts right to the back of the 6R80, and you can use that then to make a custom cross member if that needs to happen. But in an SN95, which is going to be your 94 to 98 cars, it should just bolt right in. They'll give you the brackets and the hardware, everything. You can order right through our website. That's under our 6R80 components on the Coyote Swap component product listing. So that shouldn't be a problem at all. Can you go over the parts you make to take F-150 engine to Mustang without changing cams, and does this affect the wiring harness to use? I covered it earlier in the video, so when this loads up, you'll be able to see that again. But yes, if you're going to use our engine harness that we offer for the F-150 in a Gen 2, Gen 1, you don't have to make any changes. Harnesses are all the same. Gen 2, there's two differences, firing order and mass airflow meter. It's missing from the F-150. We make those changes for you in the harness. You can send us your F-150 harness and we can modify it for you, or we can supply you a brand new harness that is modified. Pick your poison. I think one's $250 and one's $400. If you do that, do not change the cams. Leave them F-150. Leave everything F-150 if you're going to go that route. If you're going to go the route of changing over to Mustang camshafts, then you need to get rid of the F-150 harness and get a stock Mustang harness for a 6R80 or a manual. So that's all you have to do. And we have our harnesses available. I think once you place your order, we'll modify it within a day or two and it gets out the door to you. So they ship usually within 1 to 3 business days. Let's see here. Any info on the locked cam stroke carb Coyote? No. Locked cam stroke carb. It's not something we would do, or we're really planning on doing. I mean, I guess that's possible. I've seen guys run individual throttle bodies on a Coyote. It looks awesome. I don't think it really adds any power. In fact, we had a car on the dyno that had a, I believe it was a Motec standalone. It was a Cobra kit car, Motec standalone with a Borla 8-pack individual throttle bodies on it. It didn't make any extra power over any of the stock, a single, 80 millimeter throttle body that's found on a factory car. So I don't think there's any reason to go that route. Now you do, if you like carbs and cams and all that stuff, that Godzilla motor might be a better option for you once more things become available. I'm sure just mentioning Godzilla should field plenty of questions, as Whipple just released a supercharger for it as well. But I heard those Godzilla engines are not liking the normal amount of boost that we're used to in the Coyotes, and they're a little bit of a scatterbug when it comes to the rods. So, do Alex and Christian disappear for extended periods of time? Yes. It's sad, actually. It would be more for, loose lug nuts. It would be more for the looks than performance in an F100. I can see that. I mean, aesthetically, it's really up to you what you're going to be doing there. But I don't think you're going to have great drivability, and you're not going to have a ton of support. Could it work? Absolutely. I mean, we were putting, not us in particular, but a lot of guys in the aftermarket were putting carbs on 4.6s and stuff like that. So a lot of the same things apply. I'm not sure about tuning. You might have to go standalone. I don't think you're going to get a file from Lund when it comes to that. They might ban you from their tech support if you send them that request, or if we send it into them. It'd actually be a funny joke one day to run through to them. So let's see if we'll do it. Let's see here. Scroll up for 5.0 Magic. Anyway. Swapping a Gen 1 Coyote into my new Edge and keeping the 4R70W transmission. Any recommendations to make it work well as far as parts and things to do? And that's a question from Orlando Chavez. US shift, I think it's the Quick 4, is the standalone that you're going to want to get for that 4R70W. We've used it in the past. It works. I want to say that Ecobreaker, which is Sergio Rojas's Fox body that you've probably seen if you've been following us for a while. It's a beautiful Celine. I want to say it's in the 7s, if not very low 8s, street car. And he's had a 4R70W that we've built for him for quite a bit. And that uses a controller, so it can definitely handle that duty. Street driving, it'll work just fine. I mean, as good as a 4R70W is going to deliver shifting and drivability. So I'll definitely key in on that. The rest of the stuff, I mean, you're really going to be using all your factory components or going to a 4R70W car and getting your shifter and your cable and your cross member and all that stuff. So, there really isn't anything extra I can add on to that to say it's going to work better if you do this. You just got to follow the typical steps. Make sure it's cooling properly. Make sure it's got the right fluid in it. Make sure you got good tuning in it. The one tricky part about that is when you're using a standalone controller on something like a 4R70W, you're the tuner. There typically is no support that you can buy unless you know somebody who can do it. A guy like Sergio, for example, you can probably reach out to and he can maybe help you, but I don't know about remote stuff like that. So you kind of have to be with a car to get things squared away. So keep that in mind with standalone anything. When you veer from the stock computer, you lose all that tech and development, and you're only going to be as good as the input you put into the standalone controller and what you understand on how that transmission works. So keep that in mind. Budget for that or plan for that, because I'd hate to see you spend all that money and then not be able to get it tuned, and you're back at square one, and now you're trying to shove a 6R80 in there. You gotta buy a different control pack, you gotta buy a different cross member, drive shaft, all that stuff. So make sure you have that box checked before you decide to go that route. 1517 VCT worth it over first gen Coyote. I mean, you don't really put the Gen 2 VCT in a Gen 1 motor for any type of gain. Really, the difference between the two is how they lock, the position that they lock. But there really isn't one that's better than the other. You just want to make sure that your VCT matches what your computer is. That way your tuner isn't, flying blind, basically, trying to send a camshaft or limiting a camshaft when it can go further or not. So make sure that you're matched up. Contact your tuner on that stuff and make sure that they're comfortable if you do have a mismatch with it, because it could lead to some drivability issues. It could lead to some cold start issues and so forth. But is everybody still hearing me okay? Lighting look good? Any comments on the setup here? Everybody happy with it? I don't look weird. Well, I look weird, but anything I need to improve, as this is our first episode of many. I think as time progresses, we're going to graduate from using the cell phone to using a computer, but we got to get one ordered up and get one in here so we can improve stuff, maybe show some pictures and diagrams as we go along to improve the channel and so forth. But so far, so good, I think. No one's really complaining. Thanks for answering my question. Hey, Orlando, no problem, man. Thank you for chiming in. If you have any other questions on that stuff, again, info@PBH Performance. That's going to be the best way to get an answer for you. As far as a casting couch root beer, yeah, I think we might need one of those. I have a casting desk I could probably use. It's a little hard, but yeah, should be okay. No complaints. Thank you, David. I appreciate you chiming in there. Make sure you support the other channels that support us. Alex, if you're into his shows and some of the tech and stuff he does, make sure you check that stuff out. Also, Foxcast Media, Caleb, he's always shouting us out in all his posts. He does do quite a bit of tech. I think they're Coyote swapping a Mercedes now, which is pretty cool. Matt Sopa, I think if we work with him in the near future, that's going to be pretty cool to check out if he does a Coyote swap in 48 hours from, soup to nuts kind of deal. Who else? Max Slider Motors, they're really good customers of ours, built some crazy Broncos. There's quite a few Bronco builders out there. It's unreal what those guys are spending on those swaps. It's kind of crazy to me. How much, let's ask everyone here, what do you feel comfortable spending on a Coyote swap? What is the number? Because we get asked all the time, how much is a Coyote swap? What do you feel comfortable spending on a Coyote swap? And I know the question varies just like as it's presented to us, but what's the number that is just like, whew, that's too much? There's no way. I got a Fox bot, I'm going to spend how much in that? So let me know in the chat what you guys feel comfortable, or maybe what you've spent on your swap in particular, so other people can see what is being spent on these swaps as needed. And I guess, like David said, it's subjective. There's a lot of differences, but what is the number? I mean, what's typically going to be a swap you're going to do? We've always told everybody you're going to spend at least 10 grand if you're doing it yourself. So let's see here. I have one more question. Looking to do a Gen 3 10R80 control pack for my wife's T-Bird. Do you know if a Fox body AOD shifter can be used? This is from 50 Magic. We're working on a 10R80 shifter lever. I believe it's going to be a little bit different than the one we have existing in our catalog for the 6R80. That one can be modified to work with an AOD shifter. Now, it's designed specifically to work with the 4R70W and the AODE cable that was found in 94 and up Mustangs. But as far as using a Fox body cable, our friend, forget his name now. We just had a good customer of ours do a swap using our shifter lever, and he was using a Fox body cable and shifter from an AOD, and it didn't work out too well. He had to modify it a little bit. So we may be looking at making some changes there to make it a little bit more available and to work with some of the aftermarket shifters as well. So keep in touch on that one. I'm not sure how soon we're going to have something like that, or if it's even close enough. Maybe it's something we can send you one and you can try it for us and let us know how it works out. But I'm sure Jake can take a look at it here. If you guys don't know who Jake is, behind the scenes, he's never really in front of the cameras and stuff like that other than on Alex's channel. Jake Long is the owner of Power by the Hour Performance and a really good friend of mine. Jake and I have actually worked together for a long time. I think it's going like 15, 16 years now, on and off. But he is the one that comes up with all these crazy products. We throw in our 2 cents from time to time, but a lot of that's based on the feedback we get from you guys. So no question too hard, not too oddball. Just send it to us because it may set off a light bulb or something we can develop for everybody who's doing Coyote Swap. So fire away. I have a Ford Racing short throw shifter in my 15 GT, and in first through second, there's a terrible resonance after the car warms up. Anything I should look to fix this? A resonance. I mean, if you can isolate it to the transmission, you know it's something that's coming through the shifter, which it sounds like you did. I would have to say you may have something that's causing that internal to the transmission, or it's being fed through the differential up through. There really shouldn't be that much noise coming through, especially on a 15 GT where the shifter is not even really in the transmission. If it's got hardened components, it's solid, bushing wise and so forth, all that stuff will kind of turn up the noise a little bit, but we don't know for sure what it's going to be. I don't think it's really going to be something wrong in the shifter or characteristic to the shifter. I know when we were doing a lot more shifter installations, one of the reasons why we stopped selling the shifters is because of stuff like this. You know, one guy would say the Barton's too loud, give me an MGW. I got an MGW and now I want a Barton because I heard this one. Okay, just bring me the shifter, we'll install it for you kind of deal. But I've never really heard that from the Ford Racing shifters in particular. I would check all your hardware, make sure it's installed properly, make sure nothing's over torqued, like a bushing is collapsed or something like that. And if the noise persists and you cannot drive this car, you may want to put your stock shifter back in and see if the noise goes away, or maybe change to a different one. But just double check the installation because I don't think characteristically they're that loud. And the other thing is if it is a little bit louder, there are hardened components in there. You know, turn the radio on and see if it still bothers you. If it drives you nuts when the windows are up, the AC's off, and the radio's off, that's kind of a harsh test for a noise test, especially with aftermarket performance products. Root Beer, thanks for answering our questions. Here's $10 to stock up on toilet paper. I finally got my restock of toilet paper today, shipped. Great service. We ordered it through Costco. Girl waited in line for an hour and a half for the truck to show up at Costco to get me my Kirkland super soft toilet paper, my toilet paper of choice. And we also got a case of wipes, Tide Pods, in case my neighbors need any help through these harsh times. But yeah, thank you for the support, Root Beer. And thank you for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. We're going to be back here next Wednesday at 7 o'clock. Even if I have to do it from home, depending on what happens with all the rules and regulations for the COVID outbreak. Kimbo Slice, thank you, man. Appreciate the support. It's what makes us. It's what makes us do it. We're enthusiasts too. We're not just here making parts to make money. I mean, obviously that's part of the deal. That's part of the business. But this is all spawned from being enthusiasts. There was a time where we were on the other end of this broadcast, on the other end of the phone, trying to get information, trying to figure out how to do stuff, not knowing where to get info. And there was a lot of great people that I interacted with in the aftermarket that are still friends of mine, that volunteered that information and didn't get frustrated and answer those questions. So we try to practice that as much as possible. We do get some doozies. someone will buy a T-shirt and ask us to FaceTime with them, trying to help them wire the entire car. That's a little tough for us to do, but these live broadcasts are a good way to get some questions answered if you do need some support. We've even talked maybe about doing a ticket system to help organize some of those tech questions and get guys the information they need and spend the time with them. But I don't know how that would work really. It's kind of like a double-edged sword. So spent around 16K. This is 50 Magic. 16K on my Coyote Swap Fairmont. I did the swap in 2014. Brian says about 30 grand. I mean, again, budget's going to be king. If you got the budget to do it, it's definitely can be done. But if you're comfortable investing that much into a vehicle, knowing what the resale prices are on them, you gotta definitely love that car or have an attachment to that vehicle to do that modification. And that's usually what we see, because this isn't a get rich quick scheme where you're buying rollers, putting Coyotes in them, and making a buck. It's kind of hard to do it that route. Some guys do it, but I would say for me, I mean, if I was spending more than $15,000 to $20,000, it's probably going to be a very dedicated project and something I'm going to have to do over time. Just for budget. Loose Lugness. True, my question was more for a swap from whatever the next Gen V8 will be. The 11 to 14 S187 isn't old enough yet to be considered a swap car. Unless it was something radical like a Godzilla swap. Yeah, I mean, the Godzilla swap stuff, what's going to determine how dedicated the aftermarket gets to it is going to be supply of engines, I would think. If these engines start popping up everywhere, cheap, awesome. There's going to be a lot more guys looking for products to swap it. If Ford Racing offers it as an affordable crate engine, that's going to be key as well. If a control pack is there, which I think they've already announced they're going to do it. Now we have a supercharger option. Where I'm a little worried with the Godzilla is the fact that it's not in a Mustang. That means there isn't a whole lot of support, extra support, and extra products. Everything's going to be specific to that, and I think the numbers are going to be fairly low if you look at it that way to manufacturers. So you may not see some big name companies jump in to the Coyote Swap arena. We kind of loosely discussed it. We were going to do more 3.5 Ecoboost stuff, but 3.5 Ecoboost, I mean, we're just not getting the calls and the emails looking for the stuff, so it's not really priority number one for us to develop parts as of yet. So Godzilla, I think we're getting a little bit more traffic on. We don't have an engine as of yet, but might be something we look to in the future. If you're looking to do something like that and inquiring about products, make sure you email us. The more we find out what you guys are looking for, the more products we can then look at and then try to develop. If you're not doing the swaps or not letting us know that you're doing the swap, it's hard for us to really gauge or get data on engines being sold or bought for that purpose. So it really depends on what you guys tell us. As an example, the 94 to 04 Dakota Digital dashboard, that's something that I literally ran a campaign to get done, because the way they work is if they get bugged about a product, it gets down on a list, it gets a little tick next to it, and when it gets enough ticks, it moves to the top, and then they make a gauge pack for it. So I worked hard with the guys at Dakota Digital, and everyone who called me looking for those gauges, I told them call them, email them, and let them know you're looking for them. That way they'll consider making it for us, and they did. And they're great. We did a video on them. You can see them on our older videos here. They're available to order. I know some guys are not too happy about the gauge face. If there's a gauge face you want on that, if I get enough guys to chip in to do it, we can get custom gauge faces. An example would be like a 98 Cobra white face version of it. That'll be a limited production run, kind of custom, but we need at least 5 orders for them to consider doing that for us. So if you guys are interested in something like that, make a comment, hit us up, email us, whatever, let me know. And we'll see if we can put something together for you. We got some more questions coming in. Hi, Frank, on 6R80. This is from Carlos Arroyo. Hi, Frank, on 6R80. The thermostat bypass valve for the lower temp is good or not? We don't modify that at all in any of the transmissions we build or swaps. That's internal to the transmission. Leave that alone. If you're using our fittings with a cooler, run that. The fan, you can put that on a thermostatic switch if you like. Just turn it on. It really doesn't seem to affect it. Those transmissions are going to get up to temperature, and you want them to normalize. I don't think they're going to run too cold unless you're in really cold temperatures, and then you want it to warm up. But transmission, 6R80 transmission temperatures kind of work like oil temp. They're going to be in relation to the engine's coolant temp. So around 200 to 220 is going to be their operating temperature. They're not overheating until they get to like north of 230, 240. Then you know they're getting too hot. So I haven't seen any issues using the factory thermostat switch, or if you have an aftermarket one that's external, if you want to set it to a certain temperature to turn on a fan, it's something you can do as well. But I haven't really seen it hurt it to have that fan on right from the get-go. Any plans for those DCT trans you guys got? There are plans for it. I've actually seen some plans for some products for it. The key there is going to be controlling it. As far as it being readily available for Coyote Swaps, Gen 1, 2, or 3, the future is a little unknown there. We don't know for sure if it's going to be something you can really dig into and do. I personally would love to have a DCT in my Gen 1 Coyote Swap Fox. You've probably seen it on Alex's channel, even ours. I do autocross with it and open track stuff, DE stuff. I think that DCT would be worth 2 seconds around a place like Sebring from where I'm at now. So the car would be a rocket. It'd be easier to drive. I mean, I literally wouldn't have to do anything and just leave it in gear and let it roll. So for the high performance stuff, as far as big power, you see what the GT500s are doing. So the expectation is always going to be what it can do in a stock car, it'll do in a swap car. And I think that'd be great for a lot of guys, but you know, we'll see what controllers come about. I mean, I can tell you right now that the computer alone, the stock one, I want to say it was like $1,500, $2,000 with the bracket, and it's big. So a standalone's probably going to be what's needed there. Tremec has rumored that they're going to come out with a kit. We'll see how that integrates to all the different engines, because it's going to need some CAN bus compatibility to make it work. So which ones are they going to release it for? Is it going to be a straight up standalone where you got to get a throttle position and whatever? I don't know, but the future is a little unknown. We're going to be working on some hard components for it. We'll have, you know, whenever there's information about it that we can release, we'll get it out there. Can you describe what ECU strategy means? ECU strategy, if you look at your PCM, there's going to be a 4-digit code. I think it's a little bit different on Gen 2s, and it's kind of like your calibration ID. You'll hear us mention Win 3, Win 4 a lot when we're mentioning or talking about 13, 14, 6R80s. That's the computer that we include in our control pack. So Ford Racing has a strategy calibration there for their computers as well, and it just kind of outlines how the computer's set up to run. What's interesting is 10R80. Ford Racing told me that they struggled to release that control pack because they couldn't find a strategy that put the controls for the 10R80 in a good range. So what that meant was they were grabbing computers and trying different strategies, and it shifted like crap. It didn't work right. It maybe burned up a transmission or something like that. They grab another one, try this strategy as a base strategy so that when you got it together, it was close enough that you could drive it and then go get it calibrated. For a while there, the plan was you were going to buy a control pack, you were going to get the control pack with an envelope or a voucher, and you were going to type in the calibration code from the side of the 10R80, and then they would program your PCM and ship it to you. But eventually they found the right one that was close enough, that was in that middle ground that they can start off and work with. So that's kind of what we're talking about when we mention strategies and calibrations, is how the computers are set up. There are variances. That's why VIN numbers unlock different PCMs for different cars. If you go to our calibration listing for PATS, delete, and the conversion we do to the PCMs, that's all the 11 to 14 PCMs. There's probably 30 or 40 different PCMs from 11 to 14, and there are only a few major big differences. It's all small differences. So as an idea of what you're up against, that's what you're looking at. What are the power levels of the 3.5 Ecoboost? Are they that reliable, around 700 horsepower like Coyotes? Haven't had a whole lot of experience with them. I don't know for sure, but 700 horsepower sounds pretty strong. I think you're probably going to be putting internals in it to make it hold. Some guys have really stretched them and put turbos on them, and they seem to be holding up great. I know AJ Hartman. I raced against him in NASA, and he's got one. He's restricted because of his weight, but they hold up to that kind of abuse at the stock power level. So, why not, try to stretch it? I would say tentatively 600, 700 horsepower for the most part. You're going to be putting internals in it if you maintain that power level sooner than later, depending on how hard you're leaning on it. So, loose lug nuts. If rods, pistons, and cams show up on the aftermarket from a reputable company, I think the Godzilla would take off. I think ProCharger and Whipple putting out blowers for it will push. I agree, but here's the thing. As you compare the two, cost is going to come into effect. But if we take cost off the table, what's the Godzilla delivering to you other than the Coyote? Obviously, being a little bit different, being on the cutting edge, has its value. I think camshaft is probably going to be the nicest thing about it, because I think you might be able to buy a camshaft for it and it flop and tumble like you would expect a Fox Mustang to sound. Most of the Coyote Swap guys struggle with that. We got to do it electronically or lock our cams, and we're always giving up something to get that done. Now, if you have a Gen 2 Coyote, the Ghost idle or the Ghost Cam idle tunes from like London Racing are a lot better. And the Gen 1s, I've been told that they're not as solid. They have more issues going around. So take a little break here. Let's see here. To push out parts for the guys blowing their stuff up. Yeah, I agree. Do you guys have an oil pump gear and Coyote Swap company preference? On oil pump gears preference, we like TSS, liver noise. Haven't had the best of luck with some of the other brands out there. And supply has been a little bit of an issue from some of the other off brands. TSS was the first at the table, and their gears have never let us down. And then the liver noise ones have been solid as well. We've been using a little bit more of those just because availability and pricing on individual units for us. But there are some options out there. I know Boundary just came out with some crazy looking gear. Haven't had, for the few installations we've done, we've had some issues. The MMR ones aren't really an option for us either. So that stuff may work. When you look at economic parts, parts that are copies of parts, they are an option. But you got to really think about what you're saving versus what investment you're putting in generally to the project. And on something like an oil pump, that can cause a bad day really, really quick. And it can ruin a lot of stuff, quick. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind across the board. There's cheaper power steering solutions out there. I don't think there's one that's going to be better than what we offer. I don't think there's one that's going to be as versatile as what we offer. You may get more for your money with somebody else's stuff. But remember, these things rev to 7,500 RPM, 8,000 RPM, up to 10,000 RPM in some cases. Do you really want to trust a cheaper part to keep your belts on? And if you supercharge it, what are you going to do? Start over? Make a custom kit yourself? So keep those things in mind. If the short goal is one thing, the long goal is another. Try to think about what you're building and what you want before you get to that end zone and start ordering parts. So think about what the car could be and order along those lines if you can, if budget allows. Would Godzilla potentially have more NA power versus Coyote? I think so. There haven't been a ton of tests yet. But all the tests I have seen of the Godzilla, it seemingly has like a $4,000 intake manifold on it. So stock intake for stock intake, I think you're going to have the old age-old torque monster versus high revving, low cubic inch engine. Now, we're Mustang guys. We're not used to having cubic inches. That's not usually part of the setup unless you're using big block Fords. We always had to stroke our engines to get them up, get a little more cube out of them. Even the Coyotes getting up to a 5.2 eventually to get a little more power out of them. But I think the Coyote, for the price, what it's delivering to you, I think is, you know, for now at least, is going to be the option to go to. It's going to be more expensive, I think, in the long run to go Godzilla for the same power levels that you can potentially do with a stock Coyote. So if you want to be different, be different. Being different usually costs more money, or headache in that regard. So, alrighty, guys. Well, I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. We're gonna continue to do this. Oh, we got another one here. Shiloh. Will the Alternator relocation kit work with a 10 rib setup and an MFP crank support in a 2018 S550? The Whipple. I don't think it's going to work with the MFP. Again, we're occupying the same space, unfortunately. I don't think you're going to be able to clearance one versus the other. So that's probably not going to be an option for you. We looked at it here, and you know, anything's possible with time and money, but I don't think it's going to be a bolt-on solution for you at all. Godzilla has a lot of NA potential with the right heads, cam, compression. Just use small block 4, big block 1. Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely. But you don't have to change the heads on a Coyote. You can change the cams if you want, but I mean, you can make 450 horsepower to the rear wheels with bolt-ons, and it'll rev to the moon. It won't be a torque monster. If you need a torque monster, Godzilla might be your best option, but you're going to buy it, and to improve it, you're going to pull a cam out, do it, which might be easier than a Coyote. There's only one of them versus 4 of them. So see what it costs is of a Godzilla upgraded cam. But a set of heads, I mean, now you're in Challenger, you know, Mopar land doing heads cam intake to get an extra 50, 60 horsepower NA, which is awesome. But can you make that same power with the Coyote and then still in stock form boost it? So we'll see. Thank you guys for all coming on. I'm going to have to get going here. We'll start doing an hour. I think we're up to an hour and 17 minutes so far. Thank you for everybody who donated to the channel in the super chat. I really appreciate that. If you guys have any comments, questions, suggestions for the show, anything along those lines, post up when the video comes out. Share the link if you see if there's any information in there that'll be helpful to someone doing a swap. We're here to help. You can always email us with any questions that you have. Got a phone call coming in unexpectedly from our ghost phone that doesn't exist anymore. Again, let us know if there's anything we can do to improve what we offer, how we offer it. We're here to help. We're enthusiasts as well. We'll try to get to some of the questions I missed here towards the tail end. I'll post up as needed. But thank you again. Next Wednesday we'll be here, 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. If the time slot doesn't work for you, let me know. If there's enough people telling me to go a little bit later, we'll try to do that as well. But subscribe to our channel, hit that notification button, check out our newest products. We have them up on our blog. We'll have updates out there for you soon enough on the 3-valve harnesses. And if you are in the market for any of that stuff, let us know. That way we can get you on the list and get you taken care of first, and potentially get you some pre-production stuff to test for us. So thank you again, everybody. Thanks for checking out the channel. We will be here next week. Make sure you join us. Thank you for all the comments. Alex, thank you for all the support. You're wonderful. Have a good night, guys.